cell phone charger back there if you need one.
Oh, thank you.
You know, the first person I picked up today used to work here as a nurse.
Oh. I'm doing my orientation.
Okay.
And I'm going to be a patient safety attendant.
Patient safety attendant. That's very interesting. So what does something like that entail?
That's for a patient that might be a danger to themselves
Okay.
or other people. You have like, I don't know how to say it, like direct contact with them.
Uh-huh.
You stay with them when they have any procedures or until they get where they're like to the inpatient unit or to another hospital.
Sure, interesting. So it's kind of like a chaperone.
Yeah.
In that moment.
Yeah.
I see.
Something like that.
I get you. Well, that's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
How did you decide to get into something like that?
I worked in banking for 25 years.
Okay.
And that industry is changing a lot.
Sure.
So I want to go to school to be a CNA.
Okay.
But I have to work while...
Right, yeah.
So Loyola,
Uh-huh.
they... After you've been there for 6 months or a year, they pay you to go to school.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So they don't pay you, but they pay you for your time while you're going to school.
So like you're paid while you're there.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's cool.
So,
Nice.
yeah.
Okay. I actually live right by the Loyola campus in Chicago.
Oh, okay.
Did you want to work at Loyola specifically, or just kind of any medical?
I applied at some different places. I won't be here. I'll be at the...
Okay.
So both of my sisters are in healthcare, so they were like, well, this is kind of a good way to get your foot in the door.
Right. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, kind of get your foot in the door and get exposed to it, see if it's something you want to do. And then if it does turn out to pay and all that, then it ends up being something you can do in that way. That makes sense. What did you do in banking?
I started in customer service.
Sure.
And then I was in loan administration for 2.5 or almost 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I left, I was a teller supervisor.
Ah, I see. Okay. And what about it kind of changed to where you were like, this doesn't seem like
The bank that I worked at, we had a really high volume of cash.
Okay.
And after COVID, nobody uses cash anymore.
That's very true. I noticed I had like $100 bill I'd gotten. I don't remember where. And in 2020, I could not break it. I couldn't spend it. I didn't know what to do with it. Yeah. So I totally get it.
They've been making like cuts and I'm like, let me just get out now and try. This is kind of something I wanted to do for a little while. So
do the Uber stuff? Or,
no.
Medicine.
Yeah.
I was going to say, okay.
Yeah.
That'd be a big change. But yeah, medicine makes sense. Okay. Yeah, I could see that if it's something you're kind of called towards, drawn to do. Yeah, it sounds pretty interesting. And that's what, the person I drove earlier, she'd only be doing about 3 years, but she was like, I don't think there's anything else I could do or would want to do. Something else I'm that motivated for, which is interesting. But I feel like there's a certain personality required to do
Yeah, with me, my baby sister, my youngest sister, has a pretty significant mental health issue.
Okay.
So when my father died, I became her caregiver.
Oh, okay.
So I understand.
Sure.
Like when you're in the hospital and it's hard and so.
And that's a great viewpoint to have to be being someone who went through it on that side of it. You can bring maybe some of that experience and exposure and understanding into the work side.
Yeah. Yeah. And I've seen the way my sister was treated and I want to make sure, like I don't treat anyone like that.
I got you. Well, I'm sorry to hear that. I hoped it was, I hope you went, I saw how my sister was and I wanted to do that. But instead, it's the exact opposite, which is unfortunate. I'm sorry to hear that. You know, some people, it's like, good experience, bad experience.
You know, there were some good experiences.
Mhm.
And those are the ones like I want to emulate, but the bad ones, I'm like, okay, now I know what not to do.
What not to do. That's unfortunately, sometimes that's the example we get. So I totally get it. Do you have other siblings or is
My other sister lives in Las Vegas.
Oh, okay.
And my mom and my stepfather
I see.
moved out there too. So.
Oh, okay. They left you here in the cold, huh?
Yeah.
Gosh, all right.
If it wasn't for the sister that I have here, I would have left a long time ago.
Yeah, I'm very much a desert person. I completely understand. I cannot deal with basically now. I'm from California, so
oh, okay.
Yeah, once it starts getting 40, 50, I'm just like start looking up prices of flights, start looking up housing prices, then I change my mind immediately.
I just came back 2 weeks ago. I was in Vegas.
Oh, and it was nice, right? It was like 75, 80 in Vegas. It was warm.
Beautiful high 60s and sunny.
Yeah.
Did you come out here for work or?
I did not. No, I actually came out here for my daughter. Her mom is from here. After her mother and I broke up, she moved here with my daughter. So I was like, all right,
okay.
I'll come too.
That's a good reason, though.
It really is the only reason.
Yeah.
The only reason.
I can't picture coming here for too many other reasons.
Yes. Yeah. This was the first time I ever seen snow was when I moved here, and it's been a lot of adjusting. But I tell people, I don't acclimate. I just have snow-induced PTSD now.
Yeah.
And and that's it. It's like because I've been here 5 years. It's only been 5 years. And I've got 8 more. And then as soon as that is up, I'm back. But it's just, it just gets so, I'm just not used to it because I never grew up with it. I never know what to do. My body doesn't know how to shiver.
Yes.
It doesn't even know how. It doesn't know what to do.
My family that has moved west, they forget. They come here and they're like, what?
What is
it's
this?
freezing.
Yeah, exactly. And it seems like winters are so different in the last couple of years.
Yeah.
They're really almost unpredictable as far as how much snow you're going to get, how cold. It's like one day it's sub-zero, the next day it's 30, the next day it's 2 feet of snow, the next day it's none. And it's really surprising.
Growing up here, it wasn't like that. It was cold, it snowed, and then it got nice. And
sure.
Like the seasons, there's no differentiation between the seasons.
Right, yeah, it just went straight from summer to winter very quickly here. Spring and fall is very short. Both of them are very short this year. Which is interesting.
Oh, yeah. Does your daughter maybe want to go back to California with you?
Yes, she hates it here. I took her in May to visit where I grew up, and everything was green and lush and vibrant. And she's like, wait, everything's alive? I was like, yeah. She's like, what? Yeah, all of it? I was like, yeah. She's like, and it's warm? I was like, yeah, it's hot, right? She's like, yeah. And then she goes, why are we in California? Why are we in Chicago? And I was like, talk to your mom. Ask your mom.
Yeah.
That's not on me.
I don't know if it's safe to raise. I mean, I don't have any kids, but I don't know if I would raise kids here. It's scary.
It really depends on where you are, and you have to be very vigilant about it. I agree. Because here, in this neighborhood, it's like, okay, you have Oak Park, but then you have West Chicago, West Ridge.
Yeah.
Right, and it's like these are not places you want your kid to be going to school.
No.
And it's just a question of a matter of a block or two to make the difference.
And the neighborhoods change really fast.
Literally, you cross the street. Yeah, you literally cross the street. Yeah, and I live in Edgewater. So if you're familiar with where Lakeshore Drive ends, I'm all the way over there. But my daughter is actually right here at Oak Park. But she's right. I mean, we're talking on the block.
Oh, that's
where it'll be like
right across the street from me is Oak Park, and I'm on the Chicago side.
See, so you're looking right at it. Yeah, because she's literally right there, Harlem, Or no, she's on the other side on Bridgeland over there.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm off of Oak Park Avenue.
Yeah, okay, yeah. So it's right there, and it's just one of those where, like, driving to pick her up, you just see, like, boarded window, boarded window, boarded window, boarded window. Nice house, you're there. It's like, okay, all right, I guess that's how we're doing it here. It's very interesting. But that's the same thing. You know, I lived in Los Angeles for like 20 years, and it was the same thing. Yeah, you're in Beverly Hills, then you cross the street, you're in Compton. Like, that's literally how it is. And it just turns on you. You have no idea. Chicago, same thing. It's like west, you know, there's certain areas, you know, it's like, okay, here's the regions you're in, and they just flip them.
Yeah. And kids, you know, don't understand that.
No.
And
yeah, and you know, we got her into, well, her mom enrolled her without telling me, but enrolled her into a school in Oak Park that's like same thing. It's like on the cusp. It's mostly good, but they had a last year at the end of the year, they had a lockdown because there was gunshots.
Oh.
You know, and then like she said there's been 3 other times where there have been individuals that were just walking around the school, just like adult individuals. Who knows who they were? Who knows why they were there? She didn't hear any more info, but it's like no grown-up's supposed to be at school for any good reason, you know?
No.
Yeah, and so it's like that type of stuff. I'm like, okay, this is a little concerning, you know. But then they have test scores, and people brag about their kid, but she has the best math scores in the district.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, so she's super, super smart. So I'm like, well, maybe we can get her to something a little more private. Maybe
Yeah.
You know. But getting her mom to cooperate or agree with me.
It's hard.
Yeah.
My landlord is a CPS teacher.
Oh,
she
okay.
teaches 3rd grade, and one of the 3rd graders told her, I'm going to bring my dad's gun to school and shoot you. And I can't imagine.
Right?
It's a little kid.
It's a little kid. It's, you know, what's funny is like, yeah, a kid could say that because they're mad, because they're upset. They'll say something like that. But nowadays, you're like,
you have to take it seriously.
That could potentially happen. Yeah, and you know, they got kids with little bulletproof backpacks and stuff like that.
That really blew my mind.
It really, it's really, and like, you know, they do drills. Like my daughter does drills where she's like, if someone's coming in the class, we have to all go here and hide this way. We have to try and get into a closet, blah, blah, blah. And it's nuts. Like, I'm just like, really? Like, how is that even supposed to be?
Yeah. The kids can't be kids now.
Right? They have to in some degree. Exactly. They have to in some degree pay attention to it. It's really interesting. And it's unfortunate, I think.
Yeah. That's the way the world is, though, unfortunately.
Right. Yeah. No, that's very true. That's very true. It just is, you know, guns are just everywhere. They're so available. There's no checks on them.
I don't like guns.
See,
I hate guns.
There you go, yeah. And that's like, you know, that's actually, I am not anti-gun. I'm just like, it's all about having well-regulated. That's in the
just
the
put some rules in place. I'm not going to have one regardless, but if you want one, there should be rules.
Right, exactly. But the problem is the gun lobby is, and this is why, what is the gun lobby? Well, these are manufacturers of pistols, Smith & Wesson, right? Because that's it. You know, I think the number 3 export from the United States is guns. So these lobbyists are allowed to then lobby politicians and pay them money to have laws go their way. And this is one of the biggest corporations in America. So of course they're going to, you know, gun laws are never going to happen until we get some anti-lobbying, until we get some anti-corruption.
Follow the money. That's the way it goes.
That's really
Unfortunately.
it. Yeah, that's really it. I was trying to remember. I don't remember who said it, but it was like, if you're ever trying to figure out why a problem is happening, see who's profiting off it. Right? And that's it. That's really it. It's like, okay, you know, kids are shooting each other. Who's profiting off of that?
And during COVID, too, with the vaccines, these people, I'm not getting a vaccine. And that was all money, too.
Oh, sure. All of it. Yeah, and both sides. It really was.
Yes.
It was just like, yeah, 100%. 100%. I'm very pro-vaccine. I'm very pro-vaccination, very pro-science and information and all that stuff. You know, but then you look at it and you go, okay, well, here's the 3 giant corporations that own the patent for the vaccine. So when they created the vaccine, they didn't share it with the rest of the world.
which
And
was wrong because
exactly.
people were dying.
And so India, China, these places are blowing up right now. India especially. With COVID, it's extreme out there. And how are they, there's no vaccine, there's no way to block it, there's no way to stop it. It's just going to run rampant. And it's for profit. That's the whole reason. That's the whole reason. We're not going to sell you this patent. We're not going to tell you how to make it. Like, how does that even work?
That's wrong.
Yeah, I agree. It's, to me, COVID proved to us that we're a global species.
Mm-hmm.
We're a global species. Whatever happens in China now affects the whole world. We have to start acting like that, thinking like that. It's no longer country this, country that, state this, state that. These are all fake borders anyways. We're all citizens of planet Earth. We're all here. We're all humans. That's all facts. So we have to start helping each other, not trying to profit off of each other. But nobody's going to listen to me because I'm over there.
I had COVID when it first came out.
Yeah.
And I was really sick, but not hospitalized.
Sure, that's good.
But a year later, I had an autoimmune disorder. I had rheumatoid arthritis, and I don't know. I think, in the coming years, a lot of people are going to have, not a lot, but I think some people are going to have problems.
I hope not, because you know what? The number one people exposed were kids.
Yes.
They were sent to school. They got each other sick. My daughter gave me COVID 4 times. Yeah. Basically every Christmas for the last 3 years, she's given it to me, plus another time.
Oh no.
So, I know Christmas is coming up. I know what I'm getting. It almost, it just so far hasn't failed. Every Christmas, it's just happening. Yeah, and so we'll see. But you have a great point. Like now, I'm like, okay, what am I gonna have? But then also, what are the kids gonna have when they're older? Because I know a friend who has long COVID. I mean, she's waylaid by it. It's like trouble walking, trouble moving, no energy. Like, yeah, really bad.
After I had, because I had it another time, but after I had it the first time, my hair fell out.
Oh, wow.
I couldn't think clearly. Yeah. I was, and then I had all these autoimmune issues. So.
Oh, yeah, I bet.
But.
Yeah, that was from the COVID then. Yeah, see, that's, or as far as you know.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know for sure, but I have a feeling because I was like one of those really healthy people before that. And the kids, women that were pregnant and had it. And
yeah, there's a lot of exposure out there, that's for sure. There's a lot of exposure. We just don't know what it's going to do yet.
Yeah. I had a family member that, didn't die, but was in the hospital and had to be intubated.
Oh, wow. Yeah. I remember when intubated that's a death sentence for a while.
Yes.
Yeah. Yikes. Wow.
One of my coworkers lost her husband. Someone else lost their mom and their dad. It was awful.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. There's a lot of high-risk people. A lot, it definitely happened all around. That's for sure. I heard a lot of friends I knew where they died, but it was like I'm I'm in my mid-30s and I had a friend die, and it was like they were like, well, it's heart failure. So it's like, okay, he was overweight and he was in his 30s, but it's like this is peak COVID time.
Yeah.
So it's like, and that's part of it, is that COVID will make, if you have these other things, it would make them worse.
Yes.
If you had it.
Yes.
And so that was the problem. So it's like you had a bad heart in the first place. So of course COVID made that worse. Do you think we're done with it, or do you think we get more?
I don't think it'll ever be as bad as it was, hopefully.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's ever going to go away.
Yeah, I think at this point it's kind of something with it. And like the flu we have now is a really mild version of what it used to be. And that's what they say, is that viruses that tend to stick around mellow out, because if they kill their host, they're not going to spread.
Yeah.
So they tend to be really mild. So I think that might be what's occurring. That might be what's happened. We'll see. And hopefully that, just like you said, if it's become something everybody has, but doesn't matter that much. Like the flu,
Yeah.
like the flu, that could be the same thing.
The first time I had it, you have to stay in the house for 3 weeks. You have
Yeah,
to do this. And
yeah,
then when I
yeah.
had it last winter, the
Oh yeah,
doctor was like, oh, stay home for 5
5
days.
days. Yeah,
It wasn't like really,
yeah,
wasn't too much of a big deal. So,
yeah. That's really it. They were like, yeah, once you, 5 days not positive, you're good. You come on in. It's no
mhm.
problem. Yeah, they seems like people don't really care that much about it anymore. It's just like, okay, all right, well, it's all right, not that bad, it's not that bad.
Yeah. I worry about the vulnerable people, the really elderly people, and the
Oh
kids,
yeah.
and people that are sick. And
Yeah, and that, see, because that's really it, is like the vulnerables, the comorbidities. Those were the things.
yeah.
Um, and I was just listening to somebody talking about that, of like how part of the reason it's so bad is the American diet is so bad, and health and nutrition are commingled. It's like,
Mm-hmm.
I think something like, what they say, like 70 or 80% of people admitted to the hospital had low vitamin D, like critically low vitamin D. And so they're like, well, but nobody mentioned that. That's sunshine. That's just a vitamin you can supplement.
Yeah. And here in Chicago, we don't get a lot of sunshine.
I've noticed.
So
Yeah.
you got to supplement.
Exactly. Yeah, it's very important. Yeah, and I think some of that is necessary. I think to a degree. I don't know that the medical field is doing the research on that to say, because we're so far behind. I think as a species, we're at a point where we can see how great medicine is going to be,
We're not there yet.
but we're nowhere near it, and we have to go through a lot of making mistakes to get us there first. But we're really, we have an idea. As far as our whole existence, we're real close, because we've existed as a species for like 3 million years. So we're almost there.
We're doing good.
We're doing great. We're almost there. Even if it takes another 1,000 years, we're still doing great. But
the thing is, too, they tell you the right thing to do and people don't want to do it.
that's exactly what this nurse said. She said that was the hardest part, was that, and people that you give the advice to, and they go, that's great, thanks for telling me about that. Light up another cigarette. And she said that was the hardest. She's like, these sick kids, parents, that's not so bad. It's when you're talking to an adult and you're saying the reason you're dying is because you're drinking soda, and well, just for example, right, you're drinking too much tap water, and they go right to the tap.
Yeah. They'll find every excuse.
Right? Exactly. Exactly. And I think that's going to be, for you, if you're getting into it, that might be easier or harder to deal with for you, I imagine.
I go through that with my mother.
Oh, okay. Oh, sure.
She's a type 2 diabetic.
Okay.
And she's from Italy, so she loves her carbs and her Nutella, and she smokes.
Ooh, yeah.
And I'm like, Ma,
Yeah.
you're 70.
Oh, geez, yeah.
You better.
Yeah, it's now or never. Really.
She won't listen.
And she could get another 10 years. She could
That's
easily
what
get
I
another great
said.
10 years. Yeah, or more. And yeah. But to some people, it's like, what's the point not to? There's a great joke I'll tell you in 2 minutes. So there's a guy, and he was worried about his health, so he goes to a doctor, and he says, "Is this stopping right here?" But so he goes to a doctor, and he says, "Doctor, I want to make sure that I'm going to live as long as I can. I want to make sure I'm healthy and I'm going to live long." And so the doctor says, "Okay, cool." He says, "We'll run some tests." He says, "Do you go outside in the sun a lot, play golf, get a lot of sun exposure to cancer, stuff like that?" And he says, "No, I never go outside. I always wear sunscreen. I never do anything like that." He says, "Okay, fine." And then he says, "Do you eat any like trashy food, sugary food, fried food, fast food, steaks, or anything like that?" And he's like, "No, I only eat healthy vegetables. I only do that." He says, "Okay, fine." He says, "Do you do any partying? Do you do a lot of drinking alcohol? Do you do any drugs, or like maybe sleeping around with women or anything like that?" And the guy says, "No, never. I don't party. I don't do anything like that." He said, the doctor says, "Okay, fine. So you don't party, you don't drink alcohol, you don't smoke, you don't go outside and get a lot of sun, you don't like eat a lot of trashy food. Why do you even want to live?"
I just turned 50. When I was in my 20s, yes, I loved that party lifestyle. And
Yeah.
it gets old, though.
You're absolutely right. Right around 30, your body goes, you know what? Maybe sleep a little more.
Sleep a little more,
Sleep
drink a
little more.
lot
Drink
less.
a lot less. Yep.
Eat those vegetables.
Yeah,
Eat
yeah.
those,
Yep. Yep.
get that fiber, drink that water.
Yep. And then, if you listen to it when you're 30 and you listen to it, you go, gosh, really wish I'd have done that when I was 20.
Yeah. Yeah, but it's never too late to start.
That's exactly right. It's never too late. The body can be so resilient when it comes to healing. It's really amazing. So it really is never too late. It really isn't. All right. Looks like here you are.
Okay.
It was so nice chatting. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your evening.
Thank you. Happy holidays.
Thank you.